for the International E-Conference on Multi-Disciplinary Approach in Education. The international conference has been jointly organized by Shri Kumarswami College, Ausa, Maharashtra, Latur, and Government College of Education, Nanded, Maharashtra, Latur. In the beginning of this international e-conference, I heartily welcome all the honorable international dignitaries and participants from the different corners of the world. The chief organizers of this international e-conference are Honorable Principal Dr. Urmila Dhut Ma'am from Government College of Education, Nanded, and Honorable Dr. Principal Betkar MM Sir from Sri Kumarswami College, Ausa. I welcome both the chief organizers for this international e-conference. And today we are feeling very honored to have the international chief guests and keynote speakers. The first chief guest is Honorable Isabella Zimmerman Ma'am, founder Attractive Wisdom from USA. On behalf of the organizing committee of this international e-conference, I heartily welcome you, ma'am, as the keynote speaker. The second chief guest and keynote speaker is Honorable Miss Kim Gobon, ma'am, from Botswana. I welcome you, ma'am, for this international event as the chief guest and keynote speaker. I also welcome the convener of this international conference, Honorable Dr. Ramteke Vanita Ma'am. And after the keynote speeches of the honorable speakers, there will be technical session. And we are lucky to have the chairperson of this international e-conference for the technical session, Honorable Dr. Ravindra Ramatkar Sir, who is ex-director, State Institute of Science Education, Nagpur. Now after this, I would like to invite Honorable Principal Dr. M. Betkar Sir for his welcome note of this international e-conference. Please, sir, welcome.
Thank you, Prakash sir. Please unmute who is. Okay. Yes. Thank you, Prakash sir. I am very happy here to announce this international event as a joint venture of our Shri Kumarswami Mahavidyalaya Ausa and Government College of Education, Nanded. It's an international conference on education on topic multidisciplinary approach in education. We are really lucky that resource persons have joined here. I welcome Iselebe Madam and Miss Kim Madam to this international conference. I also welcome Dr. Ramatkar Sir, who is ex-director of this education. Honorable Principal Urmila Dhut Madam, who is principal of chief and chief organizer from the Government College of Education, Nanded, and also Ramteke Vanita Madam. And of course to all the participants, those who are joined here. So without taking so much time on this introductory part, I welcome and thankful to all resource person, all of you for joining here. Now and I'm hand over my mic towards Prakash Karar sir, Professor Prakash Karar sir.
Thank you, sir, for your welcome note. for this international e-conference, which has been jointly organized by Shri Kumarswami College, Ausa, and Government College of Education, Nanded. Now, I would like to invite Honorable Isabella Ma'am, founder Attractive Wisdom USA. Please, you can commence your keynote speech. Please, ma'am, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you very much. My name is Isabel Zimmerman. I am the founder of Attracting Wisdom. I am a spiritual teacher. And so, in this conversation, in my presentation, I'm going to share a little bit around consciousness. And it may not be what you think, what consciousness is, because you are all awake right now. But consciousness is your subconscious. So in the scientific community, they would call it the subconscious, the hidden consciousness, right? But the subconsciousness, for me, I'm going to educate that we're going to use the word spirit guides or consciousness so that we are on the same page of understanding the limited language that we have to use. And this is okay. And this is why there are gaps of understanding across the species of humans. All right. So I have a presentation, some pretty pictures that you can look along. And I'm going to tell you a story, and I'm going to bring a little science into it, a little quantum physics, just a touch, so that you understand that consciousness is natural. Okay? All right. So I'm going to, let me see if I can share my screen. There we go. All right. And let me just go. Oh, I'm so sorry, guys. There we go. All right. And present. Okay. So accessing your higher consciousness, one of the things is you may been curious about higher consciousness, and you might have some preconceived ideas of what consciousness is. And I would say the language for consciousness can also be your higher self, your inner being, your soul, your higher mind, your heart center. There is, it could be God, it could be Allah, it could be, it is something that you instinctively sense that the higher consciousness is based in wisdom or love, right? So you can almost think of higher consciousness as not fear-based or ego-based. Before I became a spiritual teacher, I was in IT and operations, and I had a really successful career, and I loved it. I did a one-on-one program with another spiritual teacher, and that unlocked my ability to connect to spirit and channel. And through the guidance of spirit, I became a hypnotherapist, and I've done over 1,000 sessions. And you might consider them as past life regressions, meaning that for me, I feel like we go into your soul field and we go into another aspect of you or your past life. and see who you are. So I'm beyond doubt because I've done so many that to me, I know we have a soul and I know there's higher consciousness, but I remember a time when I thought it was a myth. So this is people who work with me and they connect to their guides. They do find inner peace. And I work with a lot of spiritual teachers also. And I teach a lot of science behind it because I feel like if you can understand something on a deeper level, you can retain it more. So that's why I teach a lot of science. One of my favorite things was I had put a client under, and her spirit guides were speaking through her in her session, and they were talking about every single butterfly she sees. Every single one is from them. And she was amazed because she was seeing so many butterflies. But you have to understand, and there's a lot of books out there if you're ready to research on your own, from physicists, people who study particle physics, and the very, very, very elite education scholars are completely aware of consciousness. But yes, nothing is random mathematically. It's not probable. There's the Schrodinger's equation, probability, but I didn't want to go too sciencey. Okay, so the point is, I'm not here to convince you that there are spirit guides or you have a soul. Absolutely not. But if you are on the same understanding or this resonates with you, I do want to leave you with a few things so that you can start to connect to your own wisdom, your own inner being, your own guides, your own spirit. So one of the things that, if I say this to you, you'll understand this. Matter, physical matter, is made up of energy. There are atoms, there's an electron, a neutron, a proton. And if you, the CERN Collider has a website. Again, you can research anything you wish. But the humans, us, our species, have uncovered that it is the same particle for everything, which is really an electromagnetic field, because when you think particle, you think solid, but nothing is really solid. So because nothing is really solid, consciousness is a natural electric spectrum of energy, and your guides, your spirit guides, that part of you, consciousness, part of the universe, but they're not physical. And so the operating system of the universe is really energy, right? Everything is energy. And in order to connect to your guides, you really have to understand the operating system of you and operating system of your guides. If you had a software program, you can hear someone in the background. It's so funny. If you have a software program, just like the Mac and Desk. All right, I'll continue. So you'll have different operating systems, right? And this is why when I teach, because your spirit guides are non-physical and you are physical, it's like you have a different operating system. So I tune your body to energy. And yoga really was attuning so many people. So I love it when people do yoga because they're attuning to their physical body, they're attuning to their energy, and that allows them to connect to their non-physical team. I call them non-physical spirit guides. Again, they don't have a body. So when you learned how to attune your body and your brain, right, you begin to obtain an inner peace. So if any of you have been in nature and it's quiet, and you can just breathe and relax, you can probably connect to your spirit guides in that moment because there's not a lot of chatter, right? Which is hysterical that there's chatter in the background here.
Shubham sir, please mute yourself. We are getting disturbed. Shubham sir. Kotale sir.
व्हिडिओ आणि ऑडिओ बंद आहे दोन्ही आता माझं.
Oh, too funny. Okay. So now that you understand energy a little bit and how it can relate, right? When science studies energy, and there's all sorts of energies. You've heard about calories in food, right? You've also felt energy in your body, like, oh, I'm tired, or oh, I feel alive, right? So you'll hear this in the spiritual teachings about your vibration. And you create your physical reality actually through your vibration. And you can't see your vibration, but you can certainly feel your vibration. And one of the interesting things, and again, you can do your own research if you wish, but MIT, I think even Cambridge and Oxford, but anyways, you'll find it. You'll find the very elite education systems of the globe really have understood that thoughts are energy because they can use an fMRI machine and actually see thoughts. One of my favorite things in MIT was they put a person in the fMRI machine and they could see their thoughts on the screen. If they were thinking of a tree or a house. And so, because it's all an electromagnetic field. But anyways, a basic, simple idea for you to digest is that your frequency and vibration, remember, everything is energy, and energy is measured in waves and frequency, which is vibration, and you emit that signal. Whether you're aware of it or not, you emit a signal. So if you ever had a bad day and if you're stressed out about money, right, what will happen is maybe you're late to work or you're feeling frustrated. Your experience of that day shows up as stress and worry. Maybe you knock over a cup of coffee on your keyboard because you're vibrating a certain frequency of fear, okay? And so it creates in your daily experience in your life. And when you're in that state of fear, remember how I was telling you if you went out in nature and you were really calm and peaceful, your spirit guides actually, when you start working with your spirit guides, it's very subtle energy. It's not like you can hear me here on this physical plane. Because again, they don't have physical bodies and it's a different operating system. So it's like you're operating on AM radio and your spirit guides are operating on FM, right? And so you really do need to tune into their frequency. And when you're stressed, it's like you're in a crowded restaurant and a band is playing and you won't be able to hear your guides because you're at a different frequency, and your guides operate at a higher frequency and a love-based frequency. So you really have to attune and listen. And this is why in my teaching spiritual classes, how to connect to your guides, I teach a modality how to reduce your fear and raise your vibration, because most humans really struggle here on reducing their fear, and they're not really sure how to raise their vibration. You know, I can't just say, hey, get over it, relax, take a breath, be happy. You know, like you'll want to kill me, especially if you're scared. Don't tell me to be, happy when I'm mad, No. You never, ever, ever deny an emotion, okay? How you feel is perfect, and there is reasons why you feel the way you feel, all right? But we can calm the mind, okay? There are ways to calm the mind so that you feel safe and secure once again. And so you can be connected to your guides. And then to change your perspective, to raise your vibration, right? So I always think everything is a multi-pronged approach. It's not one thing. But this is why I teach how to calm the mind and raise your vibration. Another thing that I teach that I find very helpful to connect to consciousness and your spirit guides is really balancing the logic and the imagination. So the CIA in the United States did a really, there's a program here in the United States called DARPA. And again, once you start researching, you're going to be like, oh my gosh. But anyways, bilateral beats. When I connected to my guides, I actually listened to bilateral beats to connect my right hemisphere with my left hemisphere. Your right hemisphere is the logic side, and the left is the I'm sorry, I think I have that reverse. It's early in the morning and the coffee hasn't kicked in. One hemisphere is logic and one hemisphere is imagination. And I believe the right is the imagination. So connecting your two hemispheres from your brain is really important, and developing your imagination in on this earth. I can't speak to everywhere on the globe, but in the United States, we really prefer logic. Okay. So developing your imagination and that side of the brain is because your spirit guides communicate dreams, symbols, and images. And so there are many signs and synchronicities that your spirit guides share with you. And when you start being curious and look up in the transformation of those symbolisms, you can see that you are not alone with your guides. So anyways, that is my presentation. This is where you can reach out and connect with me. And really, thank you for your time in this.
Thank you very much, ma'am, for your spiritual speech
You're
about
welcome.
consciousness and subconsciousness. Very informative speech and useful speech. So, on behalf of the committee, I thank you, ma'am. Now, after this keynote speech, I would like to invite Honorable Chief Guest and keynote speaker of this International E-Conference, Miss Kim ma'am from Botswana. I request you, ma'am, to start your keynote speech, please.
Thank you very much. All protocol observed. It's a pleasure to join you all the way from Africa. I hope you can see. So, but then we always have these sort of challenges. So if you can give me 1 minute, I'm just trying to switch on. The other one dropped, so I'm trying to switch on a different network. Just give me 1 minute. So I log on. I need to log on. So I am going to go straight into screen sharing. I work with marginalized communities across the continent, which is a privilege and an honor. We focus so much on STEAM education, which is science, technology, engineering, arts, and maths. And of course, the critical issue we are addressing is unemployment, which this is a global crisis. I think this is what we should be calling the real pandemic that the world is dealing with. And this is where we sit back and address what happens that I think from India, Africa is the second continent that spends most of its budget on education. It's usually health and education. So if the government is spending a lot of money on education and we're sending a lot of kids to university, why are we not resolving the unemployment? So these are constant concerns that we need to address. Our children are in class spending a lot of money, taxpayers' money, on skills that do not exist, studying something that the world doesn't need. It's something that we need to do a reset button. Are we looking at emerging skills? Are we trying to ship in the future jobs? Do we even know what jobs those are? So as we address this, we've come up with so many ways of mitigating, quite often, the cost of getting those skills. So of course, we get so much into looking at STEAM education training methodologies, which one of them is, it has to be learner-centered, it needs to be project-based learning, and it needs to be experiential. So our children, especially with higher education, university students, they are so tired of lectures. But if you get them to do something, you see the real innovation that comes out of our students. So working with marginalized communities, of course, we meet a lot of challenges. Sometimes there's no internet, there's no electricity. But we can't sit back and say it can be done because we don't have this and that. We come up with solutions. We come up with ways of making sure, using recycled materials, coming up with so many innovative ways of making sure that learning continues and training so much on 21st century skills, which the students need currently. I hope you can all see my screen. Can you see my screen?
Yes, ma'am.
Great.
Yes.
Okay, so we're talking about driving economic prosperity through AI in higher education leadership. So the disruption of technology and much more artificial intelligence, it's something that currently everybody has felt the wave. But how can we leverage on that, especially within higher education? How can we stop looking at it like this thing, this nightmare that's going to take away jobs, rather than leverage on it and look at what opportunities can we create? I'm sure my screen is a bit brief, but I'm happy to share this presentation. And just getting straight to that, can we leverage AI on innovative programs that can enhance youth employability? So on that, we're looking at personalized learning. How can we utilize and create tailored learning experiences that address individuals' skills gaps and prepare students for the future jobs? We've seen it in Africa. Every time somebody like Elon Musk or mention anyone wants to come and set up a mega project, the first thing they look at is, but I will have to ship skills. So here we are with 60% of our youth unemployed, and 22% have gone through our graduates. And we are the youngest continent in the world, which makes, I think we're on 78% or something like that, under 35, which we should look at that as a gold mine. But we still have our minds. We still have to ship people from Europe or from US to come and work in our factories, to come and mine our minerals. So at what point are we going to bridge that gap? We are an agricultural continent and we still produce, but we can't get our products ready for the market. I think we're the second largest cocoa producers in the world, and so many other materials. We do coffee, we do tea, we do cotton, we have so many other resources. But that skills gap, where you find we have graduates still in the streets of the villages in Africa who have no clue how they can create their own jobs. So let's look at emerging technologies, and especially how we can leverage on that to enhance soft skills. So when you talk about soft skills, I love emphasizing on communication, collaboration, critical thinking, and problem solving. If our youth can learn how to problem solve, then they can be able to create their own jobs. So with the use of virtual simulations, immersive experiences that enhance soft skills development, including teamwork, ensuring that they get to understand. Start thinking of creating your own jobs, not graduating for you to get employed. But they can only do that if we get them with the much needed soft skills. Then we come up with a program we call Destination Imagination. I think in Asia, we have Pakistan working on this program. That's our partner. We're in about 42 countries in the world. It's a US-based program, so we work with a lot of smart partnerships. We can't do everything. We actually ship a lot of our robots and so many other resources from China and India. And this program has been a game changer. So it's something that we're running. We're implementing a program and running competitions with universities across the globe, which fosters innovation, creativity, and adaptability. So it's literally giving them that exposure, getting them to get their soft skills, getting them to know they're smart, they're innovative, and they're creative. And then, of course, when they go for global competitions, they meet with their peers and they get that energy kick. Then bridging the skills gap, AI-driven academic support combined with innovative programs can bridge the skills gap and improve graduates' readiness for the workforce. So, of course, I'm sure you're all dealing with the issue of students, instead of being ethical enough to think about how they can enhance and use the tools, they'll go and copy work using the language learning models. So if we can work on a way, ethics, teach them integrity, then they can purposefully leverage on these technologies. Then we have continuous learning culture, which we need to promote. So with innovation, integrating it with AI and immersing that in skills building experiences, we can build a future workforce that's job ready. Enhancing employability, these initiatives can enhance that, where youth will feel equipped, have a change of their mindset, and feel they're ready for the future, which is extremely unpredictable. So let's talk about higher education. It could be tertiary or universities, and the challenges, which it's global. Our universities are struggling with funding. So how about if we can equip from lecturers to vice chancellors to our students on them to think like entrepreneurs. And then we enable them with tools that constantly they're able to raise funds. Fundraising does not just mean getting the nonprofit route. No, this is a constant thing. And donors can be communities. It doesn't have to be UNICEF or MasterCard or all those global donors. We can be able to solve our own problems from the grassroots. And this we emphasize on the use of using AI. So we can be able to identify high value donors using algorithms, enable tailored communication, and get these to if we emphasize and get the buy-in from literally people within our communities and they see value, and it's not costing us so much because we're able to use algorithms, then we can build a better workforce. We can build communities that take the ownership and that are keen to solve problems. Then personalized campaigns, predict effective strategies. Those are just a few to mention. Campaigns and so many other ways we can use data to analyze who can fund this project. I hope you're all with me. I'm not too quick. You can give me your
No,
thumbs
madam.
up.
It's okay, ma'am.
Perfect,
We are getting
Okay.
you.
Thank you. So let's look at enrollment management and how we can be able to optimize courses and resources allocation. This is a big thing that I think it calls for mindset change. And this started with COVID. We've seen, especially in the case of Africa, a lot of our students, a lot of our children go to school abroad. I live in Botswana, and Botswana is one of the countries that takes the highest number of our students abroad. They are schooling in Australia, they're in US, they're in Europe, and it costs the government a lot of money. These are some of the issues we need to sit back and address. And then, of course, it brings a lot of so many other issues, the cultural integration, they come back, they're not fitting in. And we, of course, go through a lot of brain drain. A lot of our children from Africa, when they leave Africa, they don't want to come back. So you find we start getting a shortage of doctors, engineers, because, wow, there's so many issues, sometimes we can't afford to pay them as well. But if we can get them to learn to be that patriotic by making sure that these courses can be offered virtually. If as well we can think about the marginalized communities that would love to study, right, they can't afford to go. And it's literally a few governments that are able to do those sponsorships. We can build a better world. Then predictive analytics, this is very, very important for students, where sometimes you find we're not doing very critical and clear measuring. We can't forecast. We can't tell you exactly how many of these engineers do we need to produce. Resources allocation. We've seen it where we are constantly looking at, we need more resources. But are we being very careful with our inventory? Are we trying to leverage on using tools? I see we run a nonprofit organization that trains thousands of students across the continent. And if we don't optimize and use all the tools that we use, it would be chaos. But currently we still have higher education institutes, we still have governments that have not digitized their systems, their processes. And that becomes a huge challenge for them to manage the organization. Then let's talk about how we can enhance financial efficiency using AI-driven financial tools. AI has proved to be super awesome on automation of tasks. We don't need to get into repetitive tasks. Within our organization, we use project management tools. We actually use a system that's called Nanded.com. It makes our work extremely easy. We could be working with 2,000 trainers, facilitators spread across the continent, and we can still track what is happening just from the click of the button. So think about, I can only imagine the cases of universities in India where the population is very high. I won't be surprised you have universities with a turnover of maybe 10,000 students. So how can you effectively manage that unless you automate processes? Then we recommend budget adjustments, because when we can use data, we can tell, we're able to analyze and see where do we prioritize, what initiatives do we need to take up. then navigating budget constraints effectively would make it much easier for universities to manage their institutions. AI tools that vice chancellors can consider for each of the mentioned tasks. I'll just mention a few. There's Razor Edge, there's Salesforce. I'm sure most of you are familiar with Salesforce. So I think like literally every marketing company uses Salesforce. There's Donna Perfect, there's Civitas Learning, there's Element 451, there's Oracle Analytics, and so many other tools, including the tool I'm currently using. This presentation, when I was invited, I went into my archives, I looked at what I can. I went on one of my AI tools. I use Gamma AI that gives me a presentation in record time. In 15, 20 minutes, I was able to come up with something. So think about that, even approaching other partners that you want to collaborate with. Think about brainstorming sessions that you can have with AI tools that are able to literally advise you on what you can do in a particular situation. So financial management is very critical. We have IBM Planning Analytics. We have Adaptive Insights. Some of these are reporting platforms that have stood the test of time. And of course, we have universities that have really leveraged on these tools. Then we have Day-to-Day. That's it's a workday adaptive planning that helps you optimize your budgeting, clear financial planning. Then in conclusion, we would love to urge higher education institutions to work with AI. It makes you get an empowered team. It gives you the great impact that you need from your students, and it expands your vision. It makes you, sort of gives you a breath of fresh air. You start, when you work with tools, when you automate your systems, it takes a lot of pressure from accomplishing a task. I have 2 minutes or so, I would be happy to answer some questions if there are any, but that summarizes my presentation. And I'm very happy to connect with you all.
Thank you, ma'am, for your presentation on the topic driving economic prosperity through AI in higher education leadership. Lot of information has been shared by you, which is useful for all the participants and delegates of this international e-conference. So on behalf of the college, the institute, and the organizing committee of this international e-conference, I thank you, ma'am, for your keynote speech.
You're most welcome, and that was my pleasure to join you. Thank you.
Now, after the keynote speeches by the honorable speakers, now it is time for all of us to start the technical session. And in the technical session, there will be research paper presentations, and each delegate will be given 5 minutes time in which he or she has to present his or her research paper. So I would like to invite the first delegate who is going to present her research paper, Honorable Dr. Anupreet Kaur Mokha ma'am, Assistant Professor, SGBT Khalsa College, University of Delhi. She is going to present her research paper on the topic Multi-Disciplinary Learning Environments, Impact on Students' Engagement and Motivation. I invite Dr. Anupreet Kaur Mokha ma'am. Please, ma'am.
Thank you, sir, for the introduction. Good evening, everyone. I'm Dr. Anupreet Kaur. So I'll just start with the presentation. I hope the presentation is visible. Okay, thank you, sir. So the topic of the today's presentation is regarding the multidisciplinary learning environments. That is the impact on the student engagement and the motivation. So this presentation is basically talks about the how the multidisciplinary learning environments helps in impacting the engagement of the students as well as their motivation. So first of all, let's understand what is this multidisciplinary learning. So it basically refers to an educational approach that basically involves the introduction of content as well as the methods from various different academic disciplines, or you can say the subject areas. So in this approach, what the students they are basically doing is they are exploring different topics and issues by drawing upon the knowledge, perspectives, or methodologies from various disciplines rather than they are focusing on the single subject. So when we are focusing on the multidisciplinary, we are not just focusing on a single subject, we are basically focusing on the different varieties of the disciplines so as to have the holistic view of the different approaches. So the main goal of this multidisciplinary learning is providing a holistic as well as the interconnected understanding of the particular subject as well as the problems by considering it from the diverse angles. So in this, what the students they can get is they may engage with the concepts, theories, and various practical applications from different fields simultaneously. So this approach it encourages the students as well as the entire learners. What they can do is they can make connections between different disciplines, which will help them in fostering the critical thinking, their problem solving skills, as well as they can have the broader perspective on various real life problems. Now, next comes is the characteristics. If we talk about the multidisciplinary, first is the integration of the disciplines. That I have already told you that in multidisciplinary learning environments, what basically done is we bring together different knowledge methods as well as the concept from different variety of the disciplines. Next comes is the cross curricular connections is there. The students they can have the meaningful connections between different subjects, which will help them to cultivate the critical thinking as well as the understanding the real world applications. Next comes is the collaboration as well as the cooperation. So collaborated projects and teamwork, what they can do is they can foster their communication skills, their empathy skills, as well as the critical thinking. And last is the problem solving focus. That is students, they are able to tackle the complex problems also, which requires multiple perspectives. Thus, it promotes creativity as well as the innovation. Next is why there is a need to do particular research or particular perspective on this multidisciplinary learning. First is that it can boost the students' engagement as well as motivation, which will further lead to the deeper understanding of their critical thinking skills. Next is by engaging and motivating the students, that is basically a key to a successful learning environment. Next is we can create a learning environment basically which integrates the multiple disciplines, which is as a key to enhance the student engagement as well as the motivation in the education, because engaging the student and making them motivated in the higher education or in education sector is very, very important these days. Next is benefits if we talk about. So first is the collaboration and the teamwork. By using this multidisciplinary learning environments, the students they can easily work together, they combine their unique perspectives with each other. There will be a holistic understanding of the concept, as there will be students will develop deeper comprehension of interconnected ideas. So there will be critical thinking and the problem solving skills, which will help them in engaging the new techniques or new approaches or anything. Next is if we talk about is the next variable in this particular presentation is the student engagement. So if we talk about the student engagement, it is basically a critical or crucial factor in the academic success as well as the overall well-being. It refers to the level of involvement, interest, and active participation that a student demonstrates in a learning process. So engaged students, what they are typically is they are more motivated, they are attentive, they are committed to their studies. It they goes beyond mere attendance and the completion of assignments. Instead, the student engagement it reflects that the student is emotionally as well as intellectually invested in their educational experiences. So by motivating, by encouraging the students, by engaging them in the different tasks, it helps in the higher level of achievement, their satisfaction, as well as their deeper understanding of the material. So what is the benefits of the student engagement? So they will help in this active learning. The students who are engaged, they will learn how to like respond to the different situations actively. There will be a choice and flexibility to approach the different perspective of their approach, or to do different diverse fields they can also approach. Next comes is the curiosity and in the inquiry of understanding the different phenomena of the different approaches. Next is it can also enhance the participation. That is, the students, they what they can do is they can require the active involvement. They can have the interactive session with the different teachers or with the different colleagues, peers, so to have a collaborative activities and the virtual discussions. Next topic was the motivation, next variable. So that is motivation. It refers to the drive, enthusiasm, and the sense of purpose that the students bring to the educational experience when engaging with the content that spans across academic disciplines. So students, what they can do is they can encounter the subject matter from different diverse fields, and their motivation will help, that will play a crucial role how they will observe, integrate, and apply that particular knowledge. So motivation is a kind of a driving force that basically propels the students what they have to explore beyond the boundaries of an individual subjects. So motivation will definitely will help them in achieving their objectives, whatever they want to from the various academic disciplines. So what is the benefits? They can have a meaningful connections with each other to have a real world situations to solve them. There will be a personalized touch, as if the intrinsic motivation will definitely gonna enhance if we allow the students to choose different projects. On the authentic audience, providing opportunities for the students so that they can share and present their works. It will ignite the motivation. It helps them to enhance their motivation level. Next is the recognition and rewards. By celebrating, by appraising the students' achievements and providing the meaningful rewards, just motivation always gets enhanced. Collaboration in the multidisciplinary setting. So we can have the cross-disciplinary brainstorming, which will help them in solving the real life problems. We can have the interdisciplinary team projects, which will help them to work in teams with different discipline, which helps them to increase their, enhance their communication skills, the respect, the empathy. Co-creation of learning experiences. Students, they can participate in designing the learning process, which will obviously foster them the ownership as well as promoting the collaboration in the decision making. Next is what are the challenges and consideration. First comes is the scheduling and the logistics. So by aligning the different subjects, teachers, and resources, they require the careful planning as well as the coordination. Next is the evaluation and assessment also gets impacted. So you have to develop a proper assessment method so as to capture the multidisciplinary nature of learning. Then comes is the teacher collaborations. The teachers, they also should be supportive so as to accommodate these multidisciplinary academics. And last is the curriculum integration. That is, we have to ensure that seamless integration is there of the different subjects so as to not sacrifice the disciplinary depth. Next is promoting the student engagement. So we can promote them using the authentic and real world connection by linking the learning to the real life situations. We should also not to forget the student choice and autonomy. We should give enough freedom to the students so as to pursue their own interest within the curriculum, which enhances their motivation and helps them to engage in their studies. And also we should focus on the project based learning and hands on experience to have the in order to create the students in a much more practical manner, and hands on practice actually cultivate the curiosity, the creativity, and innovation in them. Apart from this, technology also plays a great role in this. We can have the virtual simulations, we can have the augmented reality, that is the AR techniques, which will also help them to create positive experiences with the students. We can have the online collaboration tools also, which can help the students to work together across the different disciplines. And also data visualization also helps them, the students, to analyze what all different data from which they can interpret it from the multiple disciplines. Next is the assessment methods. We can have the performance-based assessment methods so as to help the students to achieve good targets by evaluating them personally on the weekly basis or on or the monthly basis to have the real-world task. Then is the portfolios. We can have the like build the portfolios to showcase how the students multidisciplinary work. They provide a comprehensive view of their learning journey. And then comes is the reflection and the self-assessment, that is encouraging the customers to reflect on their learning processes and also engaging them in the self-assessment, which will at least promote their metacognitive skills as well as their learning ownership. A teacher's point of view, we can say that is the facilitator and the guide. So teachers, they basically play a crucial role in guiding the students by facilitating the discussions, providing support whenever there is need. Curricular designer is also required, that is designing the curriculum in such a way that the different perspective, different academic decisions can be considered, which requires intentional planning. And last is the collaborative and the co-learner, that is collaborating with colleagues and being willing to learn alongside students. It fosters a culture of continuous growth as well as the improvement. So lastly is the conclusion, that is we have to maximize the engagement and the motivation, that is we should embrace the innovation. Continuously innovative approaches will foster this multidisciplinary learning and the student engagement. We should invest in the professional development as by providing this with the educators with the training and the support necessary so as to implement the effective multidisciplinary strategy. Next is we should also acknowledge the student voice, that is involving the students in the decision making process. It will foster their ownership skills as well as the student agency. And last is we should celebrate the success, that is we should appraise the achievements of the students as well as the educators in creating the engaging multidisciplinary learning environment. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am, for your research paper presentation. Now the next delegate who is going to present research paper is Dr. Sopriya Chatterjee ma'am, who is an assistant professor in English from Govt Memorial College, West Bengal. The delegate is going to present a research paper. The title of the paper is Revisiting Gender Equality in Educational Institutions, Strategies and Challenges. I request you, ma'am, to present your research paper. Please, Dr. Sopriya Chatterjee, ma'am.
Good evening. I am Dr. Sopriya Chatterjee, Assistant Professor in English in Govt Memorial College. And today my topic is Revisiting Gender Equality in Educational Institutions, Strategies and Challenges. Please allow me to share my screen with you. Is it visible?
Yes.
So, revisiting gender equality in educational institutions, strategies and challenges. So, what is gender? Gender refers to a socially determined and culturally specific difference between women and men. Gender also determines how we are expected to behave as men and women. The term sex is a biological term. The term gender is defined sociologically. Now, in Indian context, if we look into gender-related matters, then we will find that being a girl in Indian society is not easy because girls are never considered equal to boys. This is not a country where girls are expected. Unfortunately, they are rarely treated with love and care. The patriarchal mindset is well proven by the adverse sex ratio. Sons are preferred over daughters, and daughters are seldom raised to fulfill their potentials. So, what are the reasons behind these gender inequality? There are various reasons. It can be restrictions on physical mobility of girls, considering boys as legal heirs of family property, considering girls as not permanent members of the family, early marriages of girls, practice of dowry, social norms and customs, poverty, biased education system, religion, geographic and demographic factors, historical reasons, economic reasons. There can be various reasons. So, what are my objectives of this study? First of all, I would study the issues related to equality in educational institutions of West Bengal from a gender perspective. Then I would study the strategies to ensure gender equity in educational institutions of West Bengal. Then I would try to explore the important factors that affect gender equity in educational institutions of West Bengal. So, in West Bengal, female students may have access to education, but the opportunities may be limited to primary or secondary education. Higher education may not be accessible to them. There can be several reasons. namely financial reasons, because parents don't want to or have much less to spend on a girl child, or it can be due to non-availability of educational institutions in nearby locality, or parents may be willing for their girl child education but institutions are not available. Again, education is being imparted by teachers in the classroom, but if the teacher inculcates gender biased attitudes formally or informally, then students pick up such gender biased behavior unintentionally through their schools and colleges. So, the kind of education that is being provided needs to be revised and reconsidered. So, the strategies for gender equality in educational institution, the ideas, I would give certain ideas for improving gender equality in the classroom. First of all, teachers, they should create such an environment in the classroom where all students, it may be a boy or a girl, they can equally share their ideas and experiences through discussions. Teachers should make sure that all students are equitably participating in discussions and debates so that it should be gender sensitive and gender neutral. Teachers can give examples of women leading in their fields. For example, Lakshmi Lakra, who was the first woman engine driver of Northern Railways. Teachers can review their classroom lecture through video recording and monitor their teaching on gender bias to minimize its impact on students. The teachers, they should also prepare some lessons related to the gender issues and involve students into it so that they may know about the students' queries regarding gender inequality. Counseling of students should be done on a regular basis to improve gender equality. Also, gender sensitive facilities, for example, functional toilets, sanitation, etc., should be available to girl students. We need to remove gender biased curriculum materials in our education system to remove gender disparity. As a librarian, we may balance the library by including some non-fiction books featuring some famous women. We may motivate parents to talk to children about gender related issues in an appropriate manner so that they grow up to be more gender aware. Now, there are several challenges in the path of gender equality in educational institutions. There are barriers which we face in our path. So, what are those challenges? First of all, poverty, which makes women and girls in many parts of the West Bengal, they are still forced to spend hours doing chores, fetching water, or caring for relatives. And then there are unsafe roads leading to school, lack of sanitation facilities in school, and the lack of security in schools. There are sexual violence and discrimination in various schools, and female students, they are not allowed to continue school if they become pregnant or forced into child marriage. So they also lack female role models, and they do not find any role model whom they can follow. The tradition or culture of not valuing girls' education, it is also hampering the tendency of girls in participating in educational institution. So these are the challenges that we face, we encounter in the path to gender equality in education, and these barriers needs to be handled with more care and concern. So this is all I wanted to say. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am, for your paper presentation. Now, the next delegate is Dr. Usman Mohiddin KS Sir, who is Associate Professor, Department of Management Studies, Sri Sairam Engineering College, Chennai, Tamil Nadu, India. He is going to present his paper. Please, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thanks for the introduction, sir. And good evening to all. So, just a quick recap, insight into active learning. Just let me present the screen. Just I'll present. There is a problem. Just a quick recap. Okay. So it is instigation of active learning. Here, active learning can be synonymously it's called as is even an experiential learning. So we all know Julius Caesar has said, experience is the teacher of all things. So only when we encounter, we learn better. So now we are going to see for another 2 or 3 minutes, that is active versus traditional learning. What is active learning and what is traditional learning? In traditional learning, student will be a passive one. That is, they just will be at the receiving end. Whereas in active learning, they play a vital role, that is active role. Here, yeah, 1 minute, sir. I try it. 1 minute, sir. I'll do, sir. Sir, is it visible now, sir? Yeah, thank you. Okay. So, in active learning, the student is just a spectator, whereas in traditional learning, student is just a spectator, whereas in active learning, he is a participant. And in traditional learning, it is a vicarious experience. That is, they learn through other person experience or through imagination. Whereas in active learning, they just get direct experience, which is very contributive one and significant one. And in traditional learning, the involvement of student is very less and commitment is very less. They will be a passive subject, whereas in active learning, it is very high. Then there is a low risk for student as they don't experiment. In traditional learning, the risk is very less, whereas in active learning, it is more. The risk is more. And traditional learning, it is impersonal because for all 60 or all 30, the same kind of methodology will be used. Whereas in active learning, here it is personal because we have to customize things. Next, in traditional learning, we transmit knowledge, just transmission of knowledge. Whereas in active learning, it is transformation. Okay. Then in traditional learning, student is an empty cup. Okay, whatever we fill, it will get filled. Whereas in active learning, it is a full cup. Okay, they will select what to learn and what to unlearn and what to reject. In traditional learning, it is teacher-centered methodology and teacher has a control. Whereas in active learning, it is a student-centered technology one. That is the basic theme is student-centered one and student has a more control. They will select what to do. Example, a final year project for your undergraduate or postgraduate program. In traditional learning, it is teacher is a transmitter and active learning, teacher is a guide. In traditional learning, teacher is a decision maker. They will decide what to carry out in this session, whereas in active learning, student will decide. Then traditional learning, teacher is responsible for learning. If anything, there is a gap, then teacher is entirely responsible. Whereas here in active learning, since they do on their own phase, student is more responsible. Then active learning is traditional learning. Traditional learning, it is a predefined learning. So here the content will be given, it is like a syllabus. Whereas in active learning, it varies. The customized based on the situation, based on the student, etc. Then traditional learning is a one-way communication where teacher communicate. Okay, the student will be at the receiving end. Whereas active learning, it is a two-way process. They will discuss, both student and teacher, they will discuss. And traditional learning, it is a broadcast, just a broadcast. Whereas in active learning, it is interactive. Then traditional learning, it is a knowledge accumulation. Whereas the goal is knowledge accumulation. In active learning, goal is ask. That is to develop attitude, skill, and knowledge. That is the main aim. And traditional learning is a cognitive process that is learned from other experience. And active learning, it is affective, behavioral, and cognitive process. And traditional learning, it is linear and sequential. There is a systematic process. Whereas in active learning, it will happen in an unstructured way also, but it is contributive. Okay. So next, traditional learning is instructional model and active learning is discovery model. Traditional learning predicts outcome, whereas active learning, it lacks prediction power because it varies from individual to individual. Even for the same individual, it differs from time to time. Traditional learning emphasis on pedagogy and active learning emphasis on learning. Traditional learning is product oriented, the subject, the syllabus, content oriented, whereas active learning is process oriented. How they, for example, framing of questionnaire. So they will learn how the questionnaire can be framed by doing, by carrying out a project. Then traditional learning is theory based and active learning is perception based. Traditional learning is excessive judgment of teacher. Here, judgment of teacher is absent or very insignificant. So these are the some codes regarding to learning through active mode or experiential. People never learn anything by being told. They have to find themselves. Yeah, of course. Is there anyone so wise to learn by the experience of other? No. They have to experience and encounter by their own. Okay. These are the just a gist of integration into the active learning or experiential learning. So with this session, we'll just my presentation I'll wind up. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Bedkar sir.
Thank you, sir,
Thank you, Lord. Thanks a
for
lot,
your
sir.
paper presentation.
Thank you, Prakash sir. Thank you.
Now, I would like to request all the delegates and participants, is there anybody who wants to present his or her research paper can make camera on and present paper. Is there anybody, please? I think there is nobody to present research paper. So I would like to request Honorable Dr. Ravindra Ramatkar sir, session chair of this technical session, for his opinion and for his valuable words about the research paper presentations. Please, sir.
Good evening to everybody. Am I audible, sir?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Thank you. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you, Prakash, Dr. Prakash, sir, for inviting me to speak over here. The World Record webinar series is being run by Dr. Bedkar, sir, and his team for consecutive 3 years. So today we have gathered here virtually for the multidisciplinary approach in education. On this dais, just we observed the paper presentations. My remarks towards the paper presentations are like this. The technical session was began with Dr. Anupreet Kaur Madam, who has spoken on multidisciplinary learning environment, impact on the participation, that is the engagement and the motivations. It's true, the way in which in her presentations, she took the two variables. One is the student engagement and other is the motivation. How these factors affect the learning at the fruitful level. That has been clearly mentioned by Madam Anupreet Kaur Madam. Definitely, the multidisciplinary approach in education and NEP require this kind of researches, particularly engaging the research on the so-called as a multidisciplinary learning environment, and see what are the variables which affecting it. The other session was presented by Dr. Suvapriya Chatterjee Madam, who is an assistant professor in English, Gaurav Gange Memorial College, West Bengal, and she spoke about revisiting gender equality in education institution, the strategy and challenges. Definitely, this is the gender equality as the major issues all over the world, and particularly the way in which she has spoken, that is strategy and challenges, most of the at school level what we can do it, at parent level what we can do, at outsourcing level what we can do, and how can we equalize this kind of learning opportunity to the girl child and enhancing her to the at highest level. That was given by Madam Dr. Chatterjee Madam. So, and the third one is the technical session was just concluded by Usman Muhyiddin sir. He talk about the traditional learning and active learning. Definitely, we know that this kind of now the days has gone. We no need to follow the traditional way of learning. Now the today is the age of the artificial learning. So artificial intelligence age is there. So it won't work. Traditional way of learning won't work. We have to be very active. And in his speech, he has explained you the objective behind it, the goal, benefits, the importance of active and passive learning, difference between it, and he has nicely explained it. So all the three experts, particularly the Dr. Usman Muhyiddin sir, Dr. Suva Priya Chatterjee madam, and Dr. Anupreet Kaur. So these three experts, they have presented here their papers. I congratulate three peoples for their active participation in it, and thank you to the Dr. Bedkar sir and his team for providing them to an opportunity, international level opportunity to present their papers. Thank you very much, sir, for this, particularly the regarding the technical session remarks. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for your assessment of research papers and for your precious words which added to our knowledge. So thank you very much. Now after these remarks on the research papers, I would like to invite the chief organizer, Honorable Dr. Urmila Dhut ma'am from Government Education College Nanded for her concluding speech in this international e-conference. Please ma'am, welcome.
Good morning to all. At this Shri Kumarswami Mahavidyalaya, Ausa and Government College of Education Nanded are organizing the international seminar under the multidisciplinary approach in education. On this occasion, Dr. Bedkar sir, who is the chief organizer of this international seminar, others participant and others my colleagues. In first section, Honorable Speaker Dr. Elizabeth explained the consciousness, importance of subconsciousness, and importance of spiritual teaching and yoga education and difference between fear and calm. Also explain the changing the vibrations of brain and working of brain. In second session, Miss Kim has explained the diversing economic prosperity through higher education leadership. In this, he explained enhanced personality, reality, imagical teach technology for soft skill, destination, imagination, and innovation, bridging the skill gap, continuous learning culture, and enhancing the employabilities. Also, the three participants were presenting their research papers very well. In this first, Anupreet ma'am presents about the multidisciplinary approach. In this, she explained the importance of multidisciplinary learning, its strategy with various points of view. Another research paper presenting Dr. Supriya Chatterjee, West Bengal. She explained revising gender equality in institutional education. related various point of view, nature of the equality, gender equality education, their importance in the institutional educational institution. And third research presenter is Dr. Usman Mohiddin. He explained the active learning versus traditional learning with different examples. In these occasions, I thank to Dr. Betkar sir. He has given the opportunity for international conference in jointly, and all the participants are very enthusiastic, and all the paper researchers, paper presenting members are present their papers very well. Thanks to all.
Thank you very much, ma'am, for your concluding speech and for your greetings to the participants, delegates, and the college. Thank you very much. Now, after this, uh, I request all the participants and delegates, if you want to present your opinion, your view about the international e-conference, I request Honorable Dr. Swanand Shukla sir for his remarks about the international e-conference. Please, sir.
Good evening, Dr. Betkar, sir, Principal, sir, Prashant, sir, on all authorities who are present. And really, I will thank the organizing committee to have such a wonderful session on international platform. And we could listen to such a great stars. And they have talked about so many subjects and really enlightened us for the various aspects. Like, you know, what the first ma'am, I think, Tamira Matthew ma'am, she has talked about the, you know, the spirituality, and India is having, you know, we consider it as a spiritual science, and it is a transcend between the psych and physics, what we call. And nowadays WHO has also accepted the fact, and you have really wonderfully placed that, you know, if we want to maintain the sympathetic tone and peace and calm and harmony in the life, you know, how to control your emotions, that is wonderfully very, very well explained. And then we are having another ma'am. What is her name? I just forgotten. Sally ma'am. Yeah, Kim ma'am. So Kim ma'am has wonderfully placed, you know, about the AI and the financial background and the resource, you know, very important nowadays. If they are available and they can answer some questions, if the organizers permit me to ask question, Dr. Betkar, sir, can I ask some questions? Yeah. First question is to Tamira, ma'am. You know, wonderfully you have placed about the spirituality. If, you know, when we are talking about that link. Yeah.
May I correct you? She is Isabella ma'am from USA. Isabella ma'am.
Isabella ma'am. Okay. Yeah. Fine. So if we are talking about the spirituality, how really it will help in education, because in Indian philosophy and Indian mythology and Indian, you know, the saints, when we are talking about, you know, we are talking about they were getting this kind of spirituality, and that is how, you know, their education and their knowledge has enhanced and brightened. But now in a today's world of computer and all kind of internet facilities, you know, how we are going to gain this spiritual touch to our education. That is my first question to ma'am. And then another key, ma'am, wonderfully you have placed about the AI. I think we are talking only from the institutes or university point of view, but what exact knowledge, you know, how worthwhile knowledge a student is going to acquire, you know, with the artificial intelligence, and what kind of depth, you know, they can reach to with the help of AI. So that is my second question. And the technical session was wonderful. Everyone presented wonderful papers. So I really congratulate them. and thankful to them for enlightening us for the wonderful presentation. Thank you, Dr. Bedkar sir, and the organizing committee giving me this opportunity. And really, it is a wonderful platform where the whole globe is coming together. And I think that will really enhance our knowledge. So thank you very much. These are my two questions, if they can answer. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Swanand Shukla sir, for your words about the International E-Conference. And you have placed two questions. One is for the chief guest, Honorable Isabelle Zimmerman, ma'am. Ma'am, if you are present, please answer the question. Please, ma'am.
Well, thank you so much for asking this question. I'm so glad that you made the connection with the soul purpose and alignment and engagement with students and people working. Congratulations. This is so wonderful. Okay, so Sally, if you're listening, I have a friend that uses AI for human design. So human design, if you're new to the human design, it's a wonderful system. So in corporate America, we had a personality test called Myers and Briggs. Okay. And so there's also training in corporate America, like Dist training. And so what people have tried to do was to try to figure out personalities and how to work with other people, right? So if you are now a little more higher vibration and more open-minded, you understand that you have a soul design, and that is human design. And so I have a friend who uses AI and human design so that the person doesn't have to read a lot, but they can really understand their soul purpose, because every soul here, and it's even imprinted on your hand because I work with a lot of spiritual teachers. So even though I don't study astrology, I know just enough to understand blueprints and designs. So I might be able to read an archetype, like the blueprint of a house, but I'm not an architect, right? So I have people who are architects and I have people who are healers. I have a variety of things. But anyways, human design is a blueprint, and I study many modalities and many systems. I study many systems, and this system is very good. And I really, please reach out to me, because this is a struggle for our globe. And once you can align a person's soul purpose and their lessons, then they are now aligned in what their soul came here to learn and experience, and they're going to be inspired. So have you guys heard of Jacques Cousteau? He was a famous marine biologist, right? And he studied the oceans of this globe, right? But thank goodness he was inspired to be a marine biologist, and he created devices to swim deep, deep, deep in the oceans, right? But he was aligned with his soul purpose. So you can see greatness with humans when they're aligned with their soul purpose. And if we can get more people aware with their soul purpose, right? And understand that they have a purpose in life and a mission, and gain clarity around it, they'll get excited. They'll be creative. They'll be engaged, because they'll be reaching for that higher thought. So there are many modalities. There are many ways to bring in your soul alignment purpose. And please reach out to me if you want to learn more. I hope that answered your question.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much, ma'am. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I request Honorable Kim ma'am, if you are online here, the question has been asked by Dr. Swanand Shukla sir. If you are present, please respond to the question. Please ma'am, Kim ma'am. I think there may be any technical snag or she may not be present or online. So now I would like to request convener of this international e-conference, Dr. Ramteke Vanita ma'am.
Hello, sir.
Okay.
Did you call me?
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
I request Honorable Dr. Ramteke Vanita ma'am, who is the convener of this international e-conference, for vote of thanks. Please, ma'am.
Thank you, sir. Good evening to all of the participants and all the organizing committee. Good evening to the honorable chief guest, respected principal of Shri Kumarswami Mahavidyalaya and principal of Government College of Education, Dr. Urmila Dhoot, all professors, subject expert, and my dear participants. On behalf of Shri Kumarswami College, Ausa, Latur, who the chief organizer and Government College of Education, Nanded, I would like to thank today from both the colleges, to thank today to the chief guest, Isabelli ma'am, for enlightening us with her knowledge on spirituality and education and spiritual thought and science for harmony, to how to develop harmony in life. I would also like to thank the chief guest of today's chief guest, Miss Sally Kim from Botswana, who has given her valuable thoughts on driving economic prosperity through IA in higher education leadership. And in that, she has stated what is the position of IA in her country, that is in Africa, and of course, what will be the future aspect of IA in the education field, and of course, in the multidisciplinary education. Besides this, I would like to thank our respected principals, Dr. Bedkar sir, for organizing and encouraging and giving an opportunity to jointly conduct the webinar with our college, that is with the Government College of Education, Nanded, at international level. Also, I would like to thank our respected principal, Dr. Urmila Dhoot madam, for her valuable guidance and every time supporting us for motivating to participate in such type of activities. I express my gratitude to all the professors, teachers, delegates from different parts of the country who have joined today's conference. And of course, I would like to thank the delegates who have presented the research paper, that is Dr. Anuprit Kaur, Dr. Suapriya Chatterjee, Dr. Usman Moinuddin sir, and of course the subject expert who has given his opinion, that is Dr. Ravindra, who has given his expert view on all the three papers presented by all the three delegates. And at the end, I thank you all from the bottom of my heart, and also express gratitude to all the students also from India and abroad to participate in today's conference. Thank you once again.
Now a request from the organizing committee to all the delegates and participants. Please fill feedback link which has been posted in the box. Thank you very much.
Sir, please send the feedback link